Jump.
In a way, am I the a-hole? Okay, let's go ahead and get this out of the way because everybody knows how I feel about
nobody knows.
Everybody knows.
She's a face. Sorry.
Deep off the rails. So everybody knows how I feel about mental health. One of my pet peeves, however, and I'm still learning, like I had to learn from Anna this week. The one thing that will completely and utterly piss me off completely is when you weaponize mental health. And that's what this story is about, using mental health as a weapon. 5 minutes long, chill out.
My wife has been out of work since 2018. She had a mental breakdown during her 5th year of teaching. She has been going to therapy since, and we started marriage counseling during COVID. Reason for marriage counseling was because she thought I was pushing her too hard to get back to work before her and her therapist thought she was ready. I tried to explain many times that was not my intent, but realistically speaking, for me to keep up with expenses and retirement contributions, I pretty much have to take on extra shifts with sometimes clock in over 18 hours a day, and on average, I've been pulling 84-hour weeks. I've been doing this since she stopped working. We recently had a fight because I had an extremely rough week and had the conversation again about her going back to work. She opened up with the same line she always does. We do not feel it is the right time yet. She feels I have made great progress, and if I rush it, I run the risk of losing it. We being her and her therapist. I told her I really don't give an F what her therapist has to say. I'm sick of you hiding behind her words whenever this topic comes up. She started to cry, telling me she doesn't like being this way either, and that I'm belittling her due to suffering from mental health issues. I replied saying I don't intend to belittle you or not take your issues seriously. The problem is I am running myself ragged, and what happens if I have a mental break? Do you think I will have the luxury of not working? No, I will have to push through my demons. She said her therapist warned her this would happen sooner or later. I would try to manipulate her into doing something she was not ready to do. This is when I really lost it and just let it all out. I did not say anything kind. I told her she insults me for thinking what I'm doing is manipulation. I told her I'm working these extra shifts so that she can come home and bullshit playing games. I told her this entire time you have not even made an effort to improve on certain skills. I told her she can still not cook to save her life, and that I was sick of coming home after 12 or 18-hour days just to make us dinner because her idea of making dinner is pretty much a pre-made in the oven or ordering out. Among other things, she stormed out of the house, crying, yelling, and shouting how I am a piece of shit and I'd rather see myself comfortable versus her getting better. So here I am. I do not feel at the core I am wrong, and while what I said was harsh, I think it did have to be said. So Reddit, was I the arsehole here? Hey, I appreciate the replies. Going to leave a quick update here to answer and clarify what I can. I apologize if I missed something. Thanks nonetheless. Yes, I have been to a couple of sessions with my wife and her therapist. To be honest, it largely felt like I was getting ganged up on. My wife brought up how I was always tired, so I explained I am working harder to maintain our home. When I suggested part-time work would allow me to work less, their counter-suggestion was to cut things like saving for retirement and hold off on paying off debt and tackle such things after my wife gets better. Then I suggested renting out the house to cover the mortgage, and we downsized to an apartment. Her therapist said such a drastic change to her environment could have a negative impact on her depression and advises against such major life-changing events. During another session, she brought up how my suggesting she tries cooking is to save us money so we do not order so much. She felt insulted because in terms of money coming in, I am making slightly more than our combined income, and she was able to cover her expenses, so she does not understand why we are having such a hard time. I was honest. It has less to do with money per se and more to do with the fact the amount of hours I have to work to maintain the income. I told her I pretty much am working 2 full-time jobs. The cooking or doing other things around the house dropped fairly quickly and became a critic on how I cannot manage money since I'm making more. Yet I never had issues when she was working with how she spent. More or less every session became what I could do to help my wife, and I get it, her therapist has to look out for my wife, and generally my concerns are small compared to my wife's. My wife is not a huge fan of our marriage counselor because she offers suggestions that go against her therapist. My friend has also suggested I speak with a lawyer to see exactly what my options are. After reading many of the comments and thinking back on everything, I think I'm going to do that. I love my wife and I know she is sick, but I am no good to anyone if I keep up this pace. There's another edit here. Final edit. Thank you so much for the replies and advice. It was a slow morning and I only had one field call, so I was looking over the thread with a colleague and close friend. After talking, I have decided to put in a request for 2 weeks vacation. During that time, I'm going to relax with my friends, play some Baldur's Gate 3, and also get my shit together. Going to speak with a lawyer and see what my options are because I was young and dumb, and much of her debt is mine because I co-signed and have a joint account. I will go to the doctor for the first time in 4 years and see if everything is still working as it should. During this time, my friend said I could crash at their place, so I'm going to take him up on that offer. This will be my final post here though. Going over this, I made this post for all the wrong reasons. This is something that should not have been posted publicly, and I was petty for that. Even so, I thank everyone because a lot of what was said was what I needed to hear. I do not have much in terms of a family. Both of my parents passed. Thanks for the tough love. Something has to change, and if my wife is unable to do it, I have to do it. I am young. I should be enjoying my life. I'm not even 30 yet, as my friend said. I aged so much in the last 5 years. It is scary. My friend showed me pictures from before all this happened. I want to go back to the person I was then. I agree I was the asshole for what I said, but I do not regret it. It was a wake-up call that I needed.